The calendar turns to January, goals seem exciting, but by March the urgency often fades. Weeks are filled with meetings and messages, and the big priorities remain waiting for a burst of focus. This pattern stems from annualized thinking, which spreads effort across a year and blurs accountability. When the finish line feels distant, daily execution is postponed, and results are only assessed at year end. Goals then become intentions without traction, as progress is not measured and weeks go unnoticed. The cost is stalled projects, chronic stress, and a sense that life continues while effort remains scattered. Imagine a Monday where you start early, answer urgent requests, and at dusk realise nothing important advanced. Without a shorter cycle, the day ends with fatigue and the next morning repeats the same loop. In the next minutes, you will learn how short planning cycles, clear vision, and weekly scorekeeping create momentum. This video is inspired by the 12-week year by Moran and Michael Lennington, and subscribe to practice these execution habits. A 12-week year treats each cycle as a complete unit, so urgency becomes apparent early rather than late. The process involves redefining the year into 4 short seasons, then planning and executing within 1 season at a time. Short horizons reveal the execution gap, meaning good ideas fail because consistent actions never occur when they should. With a 12-week finish line, missed commitments become evident quickly, allowing for fast course corrections while results are still within reach. In annual plans, a slow January can seem harmless because there are months left to catch up. In a 12-week cycle, the same delay immediately threatens the end result, which creates earlier focus and better choices. This approach borrows from periodization, a training method that enhances performance through focused cycles and recovery windows. The goal is not to do more tasks, but to choose a few meaningful goals and execute them with intensity for one defined season. Select one meaningful outcome for the next 12 weeks and write in specific terms what success will look like. Then list the weekly actions that will create that outcome, treating each week as a scoreable performance window. Vision is a clear picture of the future you desire, and it becomes powerful only when it feels emotionally real. When the vision activates emotion, the brain tags it as relevant, helping attention stay focused during discomfort. The amygdala influences urgency, while the prefrontal cortex supports planning, discipline, and long-term choices. Repeated focus builds new neural pathways through neuroplasticity, making habits easier when performed consistently week after week. Someone might want better health or business growth, but abandon the plan when faced with the first hard week. The difference is commitment, treating action as non-negotiable, not a mood-dependent choice that waits for perfect timing. A 12-week cycle strengthens commitment because the time frame is believable, so the mind accepts the cost of effort. Instead of chasing motivation, rely on a vision that pulls you forward and a schedule that protects the work. Write 1 sentence describing the outcome you want in 12 weeks, then add why it matters to your life. Read that reason daily and pair it with 1 small commitment you will keep even on imperfect days. A 12-week plan transforms a goal into specific, actionable tactics, which are scheduled and completed each week. A tactic is measurable and controllable, ensuring that it can be executed regardless of external outcomes or other people. Weekly plans prevent vague ambition by making the week the unit where execution is visible and adjustable. Daily check-ins keep priorities present, and finishing planned tasks before stopping protects momentum. Without a weekly plan, urgent emails fill open space, and real projects slide into evenings or weekends. With a weekly plan, you see the few high-value tactics and decide in advance when they will happen. Time control is central because everything occurs within time, and uncontrolled calendars produce uncontrolled results. A model week uses blocks like strategic, buffer, and breakout blocks to protect focus and recovery. Start by reserving strategic blocks for key tactics, then place buffer blocks to handle routine tasks in batches. If planning has felt useless, learn this weekly structure and subscribe to keep building schedules that force real execution. Scorekeeping transforms effort into feedback, as what gets measured can be improved with clarity and urgency. The mechanism is a weekly scorecard that tracks lead indicators, which are actions taken early in the process. Lag indicators are results you desire, but they arrive late so they cannot guide daily choices on their own. Lead indicators can be controlled, providing a direct way to predict results and adjust before the window closes. A sales goal might be the lag measure, while lead measures include calls, appointments, and proposals completed on schedule. When these actions are scored weekly, excuses shrink because the numbers show exactly what was done and what was skipped. This supports the 12-week cycle, as each week becomes a performance sprint rather than a vague stretch of effort. The target is not perfection, but consistent execution, with 85% treated as a realistic standard. Choose 2 or 3 lead indicators tied to your goal, and set a weekly target you can actually complete. At the end of the week, score the percentage completed, then decide the single adjustment that will improve next week's execution. Accountability means ownership, so results improve when you stop blaming circumstances and start choosing responses deliberately. A weekly accountability meeting creates structure because someone else will ask what you planned and what you actually did. This matters because isolation makes it easy to rationalize missed work, and rationalization quietly resets the standard downward. When progress is discussed weekly, the mind faces reality sooner, and small corrections prevent a full cycle from collapsing. A partner might notice you keep postponing the same key task, even though your calendar claims it matters. That mirror effect turns vague guilt into a concrete choice, which restores control and reduces mental noise. Execution happens in the moment, so greatness is built by choosing the small actions that should happen today. A 12-week system makes those moments visible, because each week reveals whether your commitments were real or only wishes. Set one fixed weekly meeting with a peer, review your scorecard, and state the next week's commitments out loud. Also, schedule one breakout block for rest because recovery protects consistency and keeps the cycle sustainable. The real promise is not a perfect planner, but a shorter cycle that makes focus, honesty, and action unavoidable. When 12 weeks become your year, urgency becomes normal, and you stop waiting for motivation to show up. You learn to set a clear vision, translate goals into tactics, and protect time with a model week. You also learn to track lead indicators, score execution weekly, and use accountability to correct course quickly. These practices reduce overwhelm because priorities are decided in advance, and daily work becomes simpler and more direct. Over a few cycles, confidence grows as commitments are kept, and results improve without last-minute panic. Start today by choosing one 12-week goal, then write 3 lead actions that will drive it forward. Block time for those actions first, then move everything else around them, so the week serves the goal. If you keep showing up for the small moments, the next 12 weeks can look radically different from the last. To stay consistent through the hard weeks, subscribe to get more scorecard and time block tools you can apply immediately.